Welcome into Attacking Third alongside Sandra Herrera. I'm Lisa Carlin. Welcome to the show today, guys. We got a lot we're talking about. A Yazmeen Ryan interview we're going to play some clips of. The latest around the NWSL, plus we're diving deep into North Carolina Courage. And then we're going to touch on Luis Rubiales' trial that is happening currently and give you some updates on it. But it's just Sandra and I for now. Darian Jenkins is hopefully going to join us later in the show. She's a very busy woman this morning, but Sandra, it's always good when it's just us hanging together. How are you?
Could be better, not gonna lie. Woke up to everything covered in like a layer of egg. It's very icy out there today, and the Wi-Fi is affected. So I'm gonna fingers crossed, everybody in the chat. I'm gonna do my best today.
Yeah, fingers crossed this doesn't turn into just a Lisa show. That would be terrible. That would be terrible. Wishing you safe travels and everyone out there because it is icy. We got some snow. I'm in Connecticut right now. We got a little bit of snow, but it's icy. That's like the biggest thing because it's a little rain, a little sleet, a little snow, and then freezing temperatures. Welcome to winter, ladies and gentlemen. I love it. Sandra, you're rocking a kit today. Entertain the people. What are you wearing?
Oh, it's just like a play on like a Mexico kit. We've got Our Lady of Guadalupe on there. We've got like a throwback crest. So I was like, you know what? I gotta bring back the kick. I haven't been able to wear a kit on here in a little while, so I brought this one
I
on.
know. We should start doing that again. Just like pick a day and wear it because usually we were doing it on Wednesdays and then in studio on Friday, but we got to bring it back. We should do that, you and I
I,
and Darian when all the things happen. Oh, speak of the devil. We got Darian Jenkins hanging with us
Oh,
now.
hello. Hello, my friend.
she did it. She made it.
She did it. Good morning, Dee. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. I'm good. Ready to talk women's footy.
Yeah.
How's the show going so far? Sorry, my hair.
We're about 2 minutes in, so it's really just starting.
I'm hanging in there. I'm hanging in there. It's tough out here, D. I woke up to the ice. I woke up to the cold. I woke up to bad Wi-Fi. So I'm very happy you are here.
Yeah.
Where are you right now? Dope kit, by the way.
Thank you. I was just talking about it. It's like a play on a Mexico kid. Got Our Lady of Guadalupe on there. And I was like,
That's
you know,
really
we gotta bring back the kit days. We haven't been able to do that in a while. I'm kind of surprised I don't see at least in some birds gear here. I thought maybe
right. I
some
really
Eagle swag
it too.
I'm trying to taper my emotions and my feelings. It has been a very stressful week and it's only Thursday. It is only about to get worse from here. Plus there's
Lisa,
like
I defended you on Morning Footy. I was like, hey, go Phillies. We were talking about Patrick Mahomes. I was like, Lisa Carlin's gonna be pissed.
Oh my God.
I'm
gonna
now
have to go back and watch and tell people. How was morning footy today? Dee, you're doing double duty again today.
Yeah, all is good. It was a good show. It was fun.
Good.
Lots of fun games on the men's side, but I'm here for the women's side.
Yeah, that's fun. Let's talk women's footy. Also, thank you for defending me and the Eagles. Go Birds!
Gotcha.
Big week for us. But let's dive into it because earlier this week, Darian and I we had the honor and the privilege of speaking with U.S. Women's National Team and new Houston dash forward Yazmeen Ryan. We got to chat with her. Sandra, you haven't heard any of this interview, so we're gonna play some clips and you're gonna give us your reaction, and we'll talk a little bit about Yazmeen Ryan and Houston dash. So let's hear from Yazmeen Ryan.
What about working with Gautrat? I mean, first time head coach in the league. I think that's kind of a new experience for you, but I would think it's really exciting. I mean, you guys get to kind of start and refresh Houston in a way that I think we've never seen before.
Yeah, even not like being here last year, it already feels like refreshing. And I think the feedback from the players that were here, like, again, the same thing. It feels really refreshing with staff. You wouldn't even know that Fabrice this is his first time being a head coach. Honestly, he's been so great and has done so many amazing things with the team already. And the trainings are fire, and the pass, even something as simple as a passing pattern. I mean, it's just been so fun to be out there and to compete. And he's already created an amazing environment for us to grow.
All right. Look, I like what I'm hearing so far. We had the interview with Fabrice. We asked about these things. I know that's stuck in the back of my mind, Lise, because we definitely asked him in a couple different ways. Like, how does he plan on getting into this locker room and making sure that it's not only stable but competitive, and is maybe there one that's valued over the other, and all of those turns out kind of sounds like from Ryan's answer, all of those things are existing at once, right? Multiple things can be true. But I think for a first year Dash player, that's got to be refreshing to know that you're going into this franchise despite some of the headlines around it, and knowing that you're already getting some of this development, some of this competitive energy going into preseason.
Absolutely. It's also interesting, Sandra, because we talked and joked with Yaz about the fact that she's been signed with Houston for like a month and they were already like contract extension, but
Give her
that
the money.
also has to go
Yeah.
both ways. And it was very clear from her answer that she is impressed with the nature of the training environments, the level of play. And when we spoke to Coach Gautrat, he talked so much about that, how he wanted high intensity. He wanted players every single day to be pushing themselves and pushing each other to be better and to grow. And that was the exact same kind of vibe we got from Yazmeen too about this, which was pretty cool to hear because that's hard to do as a first-time coach.
Yeah, absolutely. You never know what you're going to get or expect.
You never know. Let's hear more from Yaz. Darian got to ask her about any connection she's feeling in camp.
Yes, you've had some great experience in the league already. Portland, Gotham winning championships, adapting to new styles, different teammates. Who in Houston are you already kind of seeing you've got that connection with while you guys are training right now?
Well, the obvious answer is definitely Dwayne Sheehan, obviously, but as well as Messiah Bright. Since we played together in college, it's been so nice to be on the field with her again and be teammates again, and getting back in our groove. So I'm so excited to play with her and really connect with her again.
I love it. Thank you. Yes, Ryan, for this. That's one of my favorite questions because for me, that's the type of question that seems kind of simple, but for me, it differentiates the ballers from the people who are just happy to be here. Drop some names, man. Give me some
Yep.
teammates. Tell me. No kidding. I know that you're happy to be here, that you like all your teammates, and that you're very excited to play alongside all of them. We already all know that. Give me some names. So I thought that was adorable that she dropped Sheehan, of course. That's a wonderful plug for her. But I love that she mentioned the connection that she's already got with Messiah Bright. Again, another technically a first year player with the Dash here. So I love that. Excited to see what they do this season.
I love it too. And I also think it reveals that, okay, yes, Houston's got some more firing power in the attack. They're not just going to look one-dimensional. I mean, Messiah Bright likes to go 1v1. She's aggressive going forward. She likes to turn defenses around. She's a great finisher. Yazmeen Ryan can distribute those balls, get on the end of crosses if Messiah plays on the wing. I think that's a really, really good thing to key in on just from that interview of Yaz saying that, hey, we're here to attack. And I think any team that if Yazmeen went to a different team, she would be a huge asset in the attack. But knowing she's already got those connections and is already feeling herself, and especially on that front, which Houston sure has been struggle city for, I was gonna say last season, but I'll say years. I think it's a really, really bright spot. See what I did there? To mention that connection for this upcoming season.
That was cute. Very clever. The Messiah bright spot. But it's true. You want it. I mean, Dee, you could speak to this. When you have confidence as a player and you go into camp and automatically you're like, oh, wait, we are feeling vibes. Yes, like we have a partnership and we're all automatically on the same page. It helps you in your confidence. And when you think about Messiah Bright, she's a young player that has struggled to find consistency in this league. How is this going to help her having a prior relationship with Ryan?
Well, knowing that they have that prior relationship, they have the tendencies. I mean, growing up playing, you guys both know you work on the same drill, especially when you're in college together. That's a long time to play together. You totally are on the same page with timing of runs, with texture on balls, ball speed, what areas of the field they like to make runs and how far. That is already there. I think that gives Yazmeen Ryan a lot of confidence and an easier way to gel into Houston, as well as Messiah Bright, who her rookie season was a monster to go against. I mean, she led Orlando. So having that really quiet season at Angel City, this is a proper move. There's space for her to be herself where we can get back to that confident Messiah Bright we saw, and then adding somebody that knows exactly how to play with her and their friends is just going to make them more of a threat going forward.
It's a huge asset. It's a huge asset. I feel like so many of the tendencies I have in my soccer game were drilled into me, I'm going to say, in college. Like, because it's just constant. It's a full-time job. You're doing it every day. And if you have the same coach across 8 years or 12 years, right, when players are overlapping, you all have the same foundation, I'm going to say, of like high-level football that you're playing. I'm so thrilled to see what that looks like once they get on the pitch. And their expectations this year. We asked Yaz about that as well, what we could expect from Houston in 2025. Now that you're in Houston, you've started some preseason. What's brewing with the Dash? What can we expect this year?
Honestly, so many exciting things. I mean, this group from day one has come out with the greatest intensity and willingness to learn. And I think where we're starting is so key. And it's been really great to get to know the girls and connect with them on the field as well. But yeah, I mean, the things that we're doing already is just so amazing, and I'm so excited to be a part of it.
I respect
Sandra?
it. I love the energy. I mean, look, I may still or still not be here. Unclear, but I'm gonna keep talking about it. My reaction to that, look, I've said this already. First year Dash player, maybe the expectations of a first year player coming into the club are going to be a little bit different for players who've been there. So I respect the energy that she's giving in that answer. And it's the one that she can give right now. We got to take players for what they give us. And, I know we all know that there's been plenty of off-season headlines around the Dash coming off of the season that they had last year, their struggles on and off the pitch at this point. And I wouldn't be surprised if maybe that's a little bit of the energy that we get as a whole moving forward from this roster and that locker room. Maybe that's going to be a bonding factor. You hate to see it. You hate to bring up a trauma bonding moment, but sometimes there are things that players latch onto and rally around. And having been someone who has had to cover teams who go through those type of moments, it's giving a little bit of that for me too. Maybe that's already going to be a thing that they find themselves latching onto, bonding in, and trying to kind of fight for each other for moving forward, that they can't really control those things around them at the moment. So they got to focus on what's around them and in front of them. And that's going to be each other this season.
It's interesting. She talked about how where they're starting from this year. And for her as a new player coming into a team, she's obviously starting with a fresh slate with all of the experiences, winning multiple NWSL championships. But Houston also has struggled, right? So it's almost like a fresh, clean slate across the board for all the players. You have a new coach. You have a new season ahead of you. You have so many new players. And the positivity radiating from Yazmeen Ryan makes me so excited to see what this Houston Dash side is going to bring this year. To me, it's like the anomaly team. What are we going to get?
I mean, that was every game for Houston last year, in my opinion. Are they going to knock out freaking Orlando this match, or are they going to lose 6-0? We don't know. But it is exciting. And I think if you're one of those, you know what, if you're any player on this team, what an opportunity, wow, that you have in front of you to exceed all expectations, because the expectation level is on the floor right now for Houston.
Yeah,
I know
true.
we're kind of dissing them. I'm sorry. But
does that help as a player knowing that like the bar is pretty low? Or is that like,
I think it's exciting, especially now that they're getting their ish together. They have a GM, they have a head coach that seemingly players love, that's young, that's hungry, that also wants to prove themselves and do well by you and the club and for themselves. And then you're bringing in big guns like a Yazmeen Ryan, like a Messiah Bright, Danny Colaprigo. I know I'm forgetting some names, but this is the way to refresh a team where you have this depth and experience where you can actually come out and win matches and have a true style of play. Houston didn't have a bad team last year. We just didn't know how the hell they were going to play. And now they think that they're going to have that.
Yeah, it's having identity is so helpful.
It's brutal. Like, what are we doing this game? That's what it felt like watching them play.
God. Or it was like, we're going to continue to ram into this wall, even though there is not a door or a window here. It was like, change things up. Try
and also, where the hell is our coach?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a
mess.
bit of a mess, but this is a year for Houston that I'm really excited. I have high expectations for them to bounce back because when you're an underdog, which Houston hands down is because of everything that they've been through the last year and having so many new faces around the club, they're an underdog where people are going to doubt them going into every game because of the uncertainty from last year, having a new coach and all these new players, how they gel together. But I'm excited about what we see. We did a poll on YouTube with our live chat. So thanks for hanging with us. Thanks for voting if you did, asking how many goals Yazmeen Ryan's going to score this season for Houston Dash. 75% of you voted that she's going to score more than 5. Only 8% of you voted less than 5. And 8% voted that she's going to be a golden boot winner. Go off, Yazmeen Ryan. I love that. I absolutely
Okay.
love
I
it.
love it.
If you want to listen to the full combo that Darian and I had with Yazmeen Ryan, go check it out on Attacking Their podcast feed and on YouTube. Don't go anywhere, guys. We are diving into the NWSL next. Hey, welcome back to Attacking Third. Let's talk NWSL because there have been some trades and transfers and things that have happened in the free agency and contract update world. The biggest news that dropped earlier this week is that U.S. Women's National Team forward Midge Purce has re-signed with Gotham FC to a new one-year deal. Darian, this is important for Gotham because they have seen a lot of turnover in this offseason. From the 2023 championship winning team, 7 of the 11 starters are no longer on the roster. But now they get Midge Purce again, and it's coming a little bit later in the game, right? This is preseason has already started. Perhaps a strategic move by Purce, but this is huge for Gotham ultimately.
Huge for Gotham. I mean, just thinking about how many players are now gone. What did you say? 7 out of 11, Lisa?
Yes, of the starters from their championship winning game.
Yeah, it's crazy to not retain that many from your championship team. Yes, of course, Ali Krieger retired, but looking at this last offseason, the mass exodus from Gotham, they have a lot of places to fill. Champagne problems from this last year, I think we can all speculate. I'm going to say bled into those decisions of players departing and leaving and seeking opportunities elsewhere. You needed somebody that you can focus on that has the culture identity of that championship team that Gotham won. And Midge Purce, MVP of the match, with 2 assists, and she was slicing and dicing people. I think we've seen that was the best form we've seen. That stretch was the best form we've seen Midge Purce play in. And they need somebody like that can offer something different because you got rid of your speed and your goal scoring ability and 1v1 ability in Lynn Williams. You've lost Crystal Dunn, that veteran mentality, the solid, versatile player that she is. You need somebody like Midge Purce that can stay around, knows how to rally the team. And she's such a talented player. I think if she's picking up where she left off, which it looks like she looks fit, she looks technical. She looks like she's finishing well. This is going to be the Midge Purce that we saw right before she went down with her injury. And that's going to be, I think, a really big game changer for Gotham and also a signal that not everyone's leaving. This is okay. But I also, to your question of her signing late, I kind of like it. I mean, she's at Paris Fashion Week and killing it, and at sitting courtside in Jumpman, like pop off, girl, like do your thing. I like seeing that women's soccer, you can kind of play the game a little bit, especially when negotiating, when you have the ability to do so. You see the male players do that all the time, so why not?
Absolutely. But she only signed a 1-year deal, which is, to me, says that she's keeping the door open for herself to do what she needs to do and go where is best for her and her career. Other big news in the NWSL, Angel City, they have acquired from Bay FC defender Savy King. She is an LA native, and this is a trade that came with Bay in exchange for $200,000 in interleague transfer funds plus $100,000 that will come in 2026. So the young defender headed south to LA. Another defender making moves, Abby Erceg, defender who was with Racing Louisville last year, has signed with Mexican club Toluca FC. So other players going to Liga MX Femenil, expanding their reach. Big additional news that we're just going to keep touching on here. Denver FC. We talked to Jordan earlier in the week, Jordan Angeli, but the new NWSL franchise has received 5,280 season ticket deposits, and they don't even start until 2026. This sets an NWSL record as the fastest expansion franchise to eclipse 5,000 deposits for season tickets. Holy cow, the Mile High Supporters Club is going to be popping off come 2026 when the season starts, Sandra. I'm so excited for them. This is huge.
Mile High Supporters Club, bring it. Listen,
Amazing.
they still got a year. They've got a year build up to when they kick off. So I can only anticipate that number is going to rise and get higher and higher. Hopefully they crack the double digits. I mean, there's a lot of ambition from this club and NWSL as a whole to try to make sure that they keep making records as far as attendance and fans in the turnstiles. So this will hopefully be another one of those markets that can help them kind of level out and raise that average. But Lisa, I can't believe you didn't ask me about the Liga MX Femenil stuff, because you know what that means. Once you got players from NWSL going to Liga MX Femenil, what's the formula?
Is it the best league in the world now?
Now the crown belongs to Mexico. That's just how it goes. So it went from NWSL to WSL in England, then it went to France, then it was Saudi Arabia. Now it belongs to Mexico.
Now it's in Mexico. That's absolutely hilarious, Sandra. Thank you so much for just leaning into that joke, because people on the internet are insane. I love you all. Oh my gosh. All right, guys, let's talk team needs. We are diving deep into North Carolina Courage. We are hitting every single team on our way to the start of the 2025 NWSL season. And today we are talking NC Courage. The Courage finished in 5th place at the end of the 2024 season, 39 points, 12 wins, 3 draws, 11 losses, and a goal differential of +6. Their biggest offseason acquisition last year was midfielder Ashley Sanchez, coming in a trade from Washington Spirit. So far this season, North Carolina Courage has said goodbye to forward Haley Hopkins. She went to Kansas City. And forward Victoria Pickett, she is on loan to the Northern Super League in Toronto, the league that'll kickstart in a couple weeks. And then forward Caroline, the Brazilian international, has headed over to the Women's Super League to play for Manchester City. But Sean Nahas did bring in some players to fill some of those holds. Midfielder and U.S. Women's National Team player Jaedyn Shaw over from San Diego, and also forward Hannah Betfort from Utah Royals have been added to the North Carolina roster because preseason has already started. But we have to look back at 2024, and North Carolina made the postseason. They finished 5th. They had a chance at the postseason, but it was an interesting year for the Courage to find their footing, Darian. When you think back to 2024 under Sean Nahas, what stands out to you about this North Carolina side that either they did really well or things that they needed to sharpen up?
They were missing Caroline so much. We go on and on complimenting the way that North Carolina plays and how aggressive they are. And it's this beautiful style of soccer. And I think it elevates players' games so much. But when you can't score away, it's going to affect you. It's going to affect your playoffs, your ability to make playoffs at some point. I think that's what we saw with North Carolina, just the struggle of barely making it, being in and out. That confidence is really difficult anytime you go away from home, hearing us broadcasters talk about it and knowing that energy is spoken about with you and around your team and around the culture of the team, that we're struggling away and we're trying to figure it out. And they had a lot of injuries as well. It was just kind of an unlucky season, because I think if they had Caroline leading the helm for majority of the year, we wouldn't be talking the same. So the fact that they now have signed Jaedyn Shaw, they've let Caroline go to Man City, which I'm still sad about that, but I get it. It's a really good move in the right direction. I am so excited to see Jaedyn Shaw and Ashley Sanchez playing together. This is going to be a team that's fearful in the front line. There's the ability to score goals. They have a little bit more depth. They're signing players that it doesn't just fall on the shoulders of their starting 3. they can actually rotate a little bit more and there not be, a drop off or a difference in threat going forward. So I'm excited to see how they come out this season and maybe where Shaw fits on the pitch with this side. Is it the 9? Is it the 10? It's a versatile team to go play with, to play both.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to the most, honestly. I'm wondering that if that's going to be a bit of a strength for this Courage side. The fact that there's already those layers of unpredictability for them. Where is Shaw going to be? How is that going to look like? How are they going to play? They have a style of play. We have seen the Courage at this point a couple of seasons under Nahas and his coaching staff and what they want to present on the pitch. But when you bring in these sort of dynamic players, it adds that extra layer. And so when you can, yes, give your team a formation, tactical adjustments that they can buy into and an identity that they can lean into, that's important. We know how important that is. But sometimes along the way, it can get a little predictable. Sometimes very odd things can come up, like injuries can play a role in shaking that up. And, a very weird away streak where you can't get wins on the road can maybe kind of mess things up for you. But getting Shaw, I think maybe does the opposite of that. It adds in that extra layer with that unpredictability that could be potentially a good thing to tip the scales the other way for this Courage side. So I really like their offseason. I thought the pickups were great. I mean, obviously Jaedyn Shaw is the huge one, but I think making sure that they got Manaka back on contract to kind of continue to build with that very young player, I think was very, very important. Making the acquisition for Hannah Bedford, I think is really, really cool. And who knows? I mean, because they made some of these bold moves, maybe that leaves the window open still in this preseason for them to try to maybe make some more additions as well.
The offseason acquisitions for North Carolina are huge with Jaedyn Shaw, but the hole that they have to fill without Caroline and frankly across the board, I think the lack of depth in 2024 with North Carolina was their biggest Achilles heel because they just couldn't keep up. And we're not even talking about like going on the road and not being able to pick up any points for a majority of the season. If I'm going into this year, I am not talking about road games at all. I'm just avoiding that like it's the and just focusing on tactics and style and what we can do and building relationships. Like it's not even a conversation because that is 100% a mental game. And if you don't even address it, it can't be there. That's what I think. Avoidance is real. But I would say we're not even talking about it. It is
leave it in the past.
Yeah, just leave it in the past. We're done with it. But depth is a huge thing for this team. I also am very interested to see how they work attacking wise, like what the style is going to be. Because last year in the offseason and talking with Sean Nahas ahead of the college draft, he talked about how he was so passionate and knowledgeable about the style that he wanted his team to play. And he had film on it. He had a good understanding of what that was going to look like. So he could show players, whether they were in college or looking to trade or transfer into North Carolina, exactly where they would play on the pitch and exactly what their role would be. And for a player like Jaedyn Shaw, that's a huge asset to be able to watch film with a coach and know, okay, this is exactly what he wants me to do, whether I'm playing the 10 or the 9, or maybe I'm playing out wide. There's so many different roles for them to play. So I hope that this is a group that just feels so confident in what they can do because it's a side that could go very, very far in the postseason, Darian. What would it take for them to win a championship this year?
A lot of consistency. At least I think you hit the nail on the head with them just needing depth. I think that due to the injuries, due to Caroline being out last year, a lot of that pressure to score fell on the likes of an Ashley Sanchez or a Tyler Lucy, and they just needed more. They needed something else, more individualistic players that can maybe make something out of nothing. I mean, every team needs that because the game is tough. No game is the same. And NWSL especially is unpredictable. So you need somebody that can just put the team on their back and go score goals. I think that consistency and also developing players and having different ways of scoring, that's not just, getting end line, getting crosses in, but how are you building? We've seen this from the North Carolina Courage with these beautiful buildups that result in shots and shots on target, but it just has to be put away. So I think last year honestly gave them a little bit more of an edge. That's something to look back on and say, hey, we fought tooth and nail through injuries, through ups and downs, through a struggle stint away from home. They've got that in their back pocket now.
Who's
And
the
now they
player?
can build on that home. I think it's going to fall of who can score goals.
Yep. Who has to step up and do that?
Jaedyn Shaw. You don't have that name and everything around her without being a player that can put the team on their back and do that. We saw that at the W Gold Cup, and we didn't have that expectation of her to go in and score a plethora of goals. Now we do, and she made this move to do that.
Yeah, I love that. I'm excited to see more from Courtney Vine, Olivia Wingate. These are players that were starting to find their groove a little bit. Bianca St. George, I think there was moments last year where we saw this explosion of talent and confidence and skill from St. George that I would love to see consistently this year.
Also fight.
All the yellow cards.
Yes.
Yes. She's coming in. She's going to get a yellow.
Pass them out.
5-card yellow card suspension
It's also gonna
before the summer,
Gomes
please.
as well. Yeah, Gomes as well as another player.
It's also gonna be year 2 for some of those players that you mentioned. I think of Courtney Vine specifically. I mean, it's gonna be different, and perhaps different could be better. They're gonna have those experiences of 2024 to go off of it to 2025. So you want to do that as a pro athlete. You want to make sure you smash what you did last year and set those goals. So I'm very eager to see those players kind of play a role as well.
Brianna Pinto, that's a name in the chat someone dropped, huge last year, where she took so many steps forward in her game. Continue that development. We did a poll on YouTube, as we usually do. How will the North Carolina Courage do in 2025? Half of you, 50%, say that they're going to make the playoffs. I love that. I think they can as well. It's a championship winning side.
I love that.
34% say a deep run in the playoffs. 11% say that they can win the whole dang 3. 3% of you are non-believers. Say they're not even going to make the postseason. We'll see. Countdown is on. It's 30 days, I believe, until the start of the NWSL season. Absolutely insane. All right, guys, don't go anywhere. We got more Attacking Third coming up next. Hey everyone, welcome back to Attacking Third. There is big news happening in Spain right now because the trial of former Spanish football chief Luis Rubiales is currently underway at Spain's National High Court in San Fernando de Henares near Madrid. It's just outside of the capital city. Luis Rubiales is charged with alleged sexual assault and coercion. This came when Rubiales forcibly kissed Spain women's national team midfielder Jenny Hermoso during the ceremony for Spain's 2023 World Cup win, which Hermoso says, quote, has stained the celebrations from the Women's World Cup. This past Monday, the courts met and Jenny Hermoso testified against Luis Rubiales, who tried to pressure Hermoso into saying the kiss was consensual. It was a whole tumultuous situation, a horrible situation that overshadowed Spain winning the Women's World Cup in 2023. And now, Sandra, we're starting to see some of the effects of the trial take place and what the prosecutors are hoping to get out of this.
I hate it here, bro. This is when I hate it here the most. This is just, it's an ongoing trial. So unfortunately, there's not a lot that we can chew on. Right now, it's probably just going to be reactions to some of the things that you mentioned already. The fact that Hermoso's on the stand confirming what we all kind of saw in the body language of these things, that now that she's had so much time to sit with this and process this, because it's taken so long to even get to this trial. We're talking about a 2023 World Cup where she is saying, like, I felt disrespected. It ruined what was supposed to be the biggest moment, the biggest moment, the moment of anyone's soccer playing career. And that has eclipsed what was supposed to be euphoria. And it's devastating that we're watching her kind of have to relive this. Her family involved in these trials as well. Her brother also recounting their experiences, and the fact that the former head coach Jorge Vilda at the time tried to pressure her family into sort of easing these things to try to control the narrative and the perception. It all speaks to the larger things that we constantly find ourselves on this show talking about endlessly, sometimes exasperated in ways where that there is a larger systemic thing in place here. And you can see it all unfolding once again through this trial, whether it's just through Hermoso's testimony, her family talking about how they tried to get looped in and involved to not protect Jenny, but to
Right.
protect this system of power imbalances. And it's disgusting.
abuse.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, it's
Flat out.
it's heartbreaking thinking that this should have been one of the highlights of her life, the moments you absolutely dream of, and to think it's not stained just by this in the moment. This, she has to live this out and keep reliving it for so long. And the fact that her family is brought in and coerced. I mean, Sandra, you said it best. I don't want to repeat everything you said, but it's just devastating. Like, this is overshadowing. This should not be in any same of the conversation of winning a World Cup and the legacy that she's leaving in women's football. And I feel bad for her that she has to carry this to also leave the legacy of changing the narrative and the cycle of abuse around Spanish football. She's leaving that World Cup better than the next, or excuse me, she's changing the way that we're going to talk about women's soccer and who we hire on. And already the work she's done for game, just by speaking out, by taking him to trial, by not falling into the coercion and the simpler way of going about this, of just making a video and brushing it off. Her fight is going to change the way that women's sports in general are looked at, but it does not make it easier, or that our hearts don't break for her that she has to go through this, especially so publicly.
The forcible kiss from Luis Rubiales happened at the trophy ceremony of the 2023 Women's World Cup. The trial began 533 days after the kiss happened. It has been such a long time that Jenny, her brother, I mean, all of the players who have now spoken out have had to live with this and know that nothing has really truly been done until this trial has started to take place. In between the moment the forcible kiss happened to when this trial began, Jenny Hermoso was threatened with legal action by the Spanish Federation. Jorge Vilda, who was the head coach that won, he was fired as a head coach. Rubiales eventually resigned. Remember, he was just going to step away as a little bit of a leave, and then he came back in and ultimately resigned. But it took 81 players in the Spanish Federation saying that they will not play for Spain over this incident because it happened. All of that had to happen before we could even get to the trial. And after the forcible kiss happened on national television during the trophy ceremony, it has now come out from testimony from Jenny Hermoso's brother, Rafael Hermoso, stating that Jorge Vilda, who was the women's national team manager at the time, had pressured to get his sister. So he pressured Jenny's brother to play down the events that happened and alluded to consequences if Jenny Hermoso did not go along with Rubiales' story. So there was a video that came out afterwards of Jenny playing it down. And now it is very much in the light that it was all a lie and coercion. Misa Rodriguez, who plays for Real Madrid as a goalkeeper, and she also plays for the Spanish women's national team, a teammate of Jenny Hermoso, backed all of these claims, stating that she witnessed all of the events that happened. She says, quote, "I saw the euphoria, had dropped and she was feeling bad. Jenny is a happy person who enjoys the moment. Afterward, you could see her thinking of other things with her head down. On the plane, she cried after Luis Rubiales spoke to her. She felt pressure to do the video, which she did not want to do. It is terrible hearing all of these things, but it's also a little bit reassuring that her brother, her teammates are all speaking out in support of Jenny Hermoso because they saw it. There were so many witnesses of everything that happened. Now they're in trial. There are possible sentences. Prosecutors are asking for a 2.5-year sentence for Rubiales, and they're also asking for 18 months for each of those who are co-accused of the coercion, because it does go far beyond just Rubiales because of the coercion, the threatening after this for Jenny to say that it was fine. So those 3 co-accused of coercion are Jorge Vilda, the former head coach, Albert Luque, the former sporting director of the men's team, and Ruben Riviera, the Federation's former marketing director, who were all involved in this. It's a terrible situation that, of course, as things continue to come out about it, more news from the trial breaks, we will keep you updated here on Attacking Third of everything that happens with Luis Rubiales in the Jenny Hermoso trial. Sandra, Darian, guys, that's no. Sandra, you got thoughts?
I mean, it's a tough way to end the show.
It's terrible.
So I'll just say it's an ongoing trial. It's something that I think we'll probably have to continue to talk about because eventually it will reach a conclusion and we'll talk about a verdict that takes place. So I will just say in the meantime, in moments like this, there's no court that's probably stronger than the court of public opinion. So if you find yourself disgusted by what's coming out of this and what you hear and what you see in the retellings of this story, make sure you're vocal about it and can continue to support Jaedyn Hermoso.
Yeah, 100%. So well said. And yeah, thank you, Jenny Hermoso, for staying strong and fighting this, for all your strength and all your courage to continue to carry out this trial and relive a terrible moment that should have been so celebratory and fun after you won the World Cup. It is crazy. But of course, we'll keep you guys updated on everything. Sandra, we got bad Wi-Fi. Darian, your laptop's about to die. We might have to bounce.
Why'd you got to expose me like that?
We are.
You didn't have to say that.
Honestly,
you should know I
going through
slandered Taylor Swift today on Morning Footy. Sorry, I forgot about that. I did back the Eagles, but I did slander T Swift.
Do I love you or do I hate you, Darian? I can't tell.
I don't
right
know.
Now.
I don't know. Story of my life.
I love you. Don't worry. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Thanks for, talking about a lot of heavy things this week. Thanks everyone for listening and watching us. We can't do this without you guys. So thank you. Thank you. Final thoughts before we wrap. Anything from you guys? Sandra, Darian?
Support the players. I appreciate you all. Players.
Support the players.
Support the
my
players.
Final thoughts.
Send good vibes for my Wi-Fi.
Go Philadelphia Eagles in the dang Super Bowl. Oh my gosh. Go Birds. Let's do it, guys. I'll see you on Monday. It'll either be the best show or the worst show. Tune in to see what happens. For Sandra, Darian, Mark, our producer, I'm Lisa. This was Attacking Third. Have a great weekend, y'all.